For the very first time in history, 48 nations will compete at a FIFA World Cup. And to host this historic tournament, 16 incredible stadiums across the United States, Canada, and Mexico are preparing for football's biggest celebration. Welcome to Sportance, where sports stories come to life. And today, we explore all 16 official venues of FIFA World Cup 2026. For the very first, we begin the journey across North America to explore the 16 incredible stadiums that will host FIFA World Cup 2026. From historic football arenas to some of the largest stadiums on earth, these venues are preparing to welcome millions of fans and become part of football history forever. So let's begin with the stadiums of World Cup 2026. First, Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, one of the most legendary stadiums in football history. Opened in 1966 with a capacity of more than 87,000 fans. This iconic venue hosted two FIFA World Cup finals, including Pelé's Brazil in 1970 and Diego Maradona's unforgettable performances in 1986. In 2026, Azteca will become the first stadium ever to host matches in 3 separate FIFA World Cups. The journey begins on June 11, 2026, when Mexico faces South Africa in the opening match of the FIFA World Cup. A moment that will capture the attention of billions around the world. Then, on June 17th, Uzbekistan takes on Colombia under the lights of this legendary arena. On June 24th, Mexico returns once again, this time facing Czechia in another massive group stage clash. And as the tournament enters the knockout stage, Estadio Azteca will host a dramatic round of 32 match on June 30th, followed by a huge round of 16 showdown on July 5th. As the lights shine across Mexico City and tens of thousands of fans sing inside this historic stadium, Estadio Azteca will once again become the beating heart of the FIFA World Cup. In this video, then, we arrive at Akron Stadium in Guadalajara, Mexico. Opened in 2010, this spectacular modern arena holds nearly 49,000 fans and stands as one of the most visually unique stadiums in North America. With its futuristic design, inspired by the shape of a volcano, Akron Stadium immediately captures attention, even before kickoff. And when the lights shine across Guadalajara and the crowd begins to roar, the atmosphere here becomes absolutely unforgettable. Akron Stadium in Guadalajara will host 4 exciting FIFA World Cup 2026 matches. The action begins on June 11th with South Korea facing Czechia in Group A. Then, on June 18th, the atmosphere will reach another level as Mexico takes on South Korea in front of passionate home supporters. On June 23rd, Colombia faces the Democratic Republic of the Congo in another crucial World Cup clash. And finally, on June 26th, Akron Stadium hosts a massive showdown as Uruguay faces Spain in what could become one of the biggest matches of the group stage. 4 matches, 4 unforgettable nights inside one of Mexico's most modern football arenas. Next, we are at BBVA Stadium in Monterrey, Mexico. Opened in 2015, this spectacular modern arena holds more than 53,000 fans and has quickly become one of the most impressive football stadiums in North America. Surrounded by Monterrey's dramatic mountain landscape, the stadium offers one of the most breathtaking backdrops in world football. And when the sun begins to disappear behind the famous Cerro de la Silla Mountains and the stadium lights illuminate the night sky, the atmosphere here becomes absolutely unforgettable. Known as the Steel Giant, BBVA Stadium is home to CF Monterrey, one of Mexico's most successful and passionate football clubs. The venue has already hosted major international matches, CONCACAF competitions, and unforgettable nights in Mexican football history. But in 2026, the world will arrive in Monterrey. BBVA Stadium is scheduled to host 4 FIFA World Cup matches, including 3 group stage games and 1 knockout match. The action begins on June 14th with Sweden facing Tunisia. Then, on June 20th, Tunisia returns to face Japan. On June 24th, South Africa takes on South Korea. Before the stadium hosts a massive round of 32 clash on June 29th. And as thousands of fans from across the globe fill the stands, BBVA Stadium will become more than just a football venue. It will become one of the grand stages of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Next, we are at Canada. First stop, BMO Field in Toronto. Originally opened in 2007, this modern waterfront stadium is being expanded for the FIFA World Cup 2026, with its capacity expected to exceed 45,000 fans. Located beside Lake Ontario and surrounded by Toronto's iconic skyline, BMO Field delivers one of the most unique football atmospheres in North America. Over the years, the stadium has hosted MLS Cup finals, international football matches, and major Canadian sporting events. In 2026, Toronto will welcome the world. BMO Field is scheduled to host 6 FIFA World Cup matches, including 5 thrilling group stage clashes and 1 round of 32 knockout match. The action begins on June 12, with Canada facing Bosnia and Herzegovina, in what promises to be an unforgettable opening night for Toronto. Then, on June 17, Ghana takes on Panama in a crucial group stage battle. On June 20, Germany faces Côte d'Ivoire, in one of the most exciting matchups hosted at this venue. Then, on June 23, Panama returns once again, this time facing Croatia, in another massive World Cup showdown. And on June 26, Iraq takes on Senegal, as the final group stage match lights up Toronto Stadium. Finally, on July 2, BMO Field hosts a dramatic round of 32 knockout clash, where the pressure, emotion, and intensity will reach another level. As fans from across the world fill the streets of Toronto, and football fever takes over the city, BMO Field will become one of Canada's proudest football stages during the FIFA World Cup 2026. Then, we move west to Vancouver, home to one of Canada's most iconic sporting venues, BC Place. Opened in 1983, this spectacular indoor stadium holds more than 54,000 fans, making it one of the largest venues in Canada. Its famous retractable roof, futuristic atmosphere, and deafening crowd energy make BC Place one of the most unique football stadiums in North America. Located in the heart of downtown Vancouver, surrounded by mountains, waterfront views, and one of the most beautiful city skylines in the world, BC Place delivers a truly unforgettable matchday experience. Over the years, the stadium has hosted international football matches, MLS games, global concerts, and historic sporting events, including the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2010 Winter Olympics and the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup final. 2026, the world arrives in Vancouver. BC Place is scheduled to host 7 FIFA World Cup matches, including 5 group stage clashes, 1 round of 32 match, and 1 massive round of 16 showdown. The action begins on June 13, with Australia facing Turkey in Group D. Then, on June 18, Canada takes on Qatar in front of a passionate home crowd. On June 21, New Zealand faces Egypt under the bright lights of Vancouver. Then, on June 24, Switzerland battles Canada in another crucial Group B clash. And on June 26, New Zealand returns once again, this time facing Belgium, in the final group stage match hosted at BC Place. The knockout stage then arrives in Vancouver, with a dramatic round of 32 match on July 2, followed by a massive round of 16 showdown on July 7. Now, we arrive in the United States, and our next destination is the spectacular Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Opened in 2017, this futuristic venue holds more than 71,000 fans, making it one of the most advanced football stadiums in the world. Its revolutionary retractable roof, inspired by a camera shutter, and the gigantic 360-degree halo video board, create one of the most breathtaking matchday experiences anywhere on the planet. Located in the heart of downtown Atlanta, this stadium has already hosted some of the biggest sporting events in modern history, including Super Bowl 53. College football national championships, major international football matches, and unforgettable sold-out atmospheres. But in 2026, Atlanta becomes one of the major centers of the FIFA World Cup. Mercedes-Benz Stadium is scheduled to host 8 matches, including 5 group stage encounters, a round of 32 clash, a round of 16 showdown, and a massive World Cup semi-final. The World Cup action in Atlanta begins on June 15, 2026, with Spain facing Cabo Verde in a fascinating group stage encounter. Then, on June 18, Czechia takes on South Africa in another crucial group stage battle. On June 21, Spain returns once again, this time facing Saudi Arabia, under the bright lights of Atlanta Stadium. Then, on June 24, Morocco faces Haiti in what promises to be an emotional World Cup clash. And on June 27, Congo DR battles Uzbekistan as the final group stage match arrives in Atlanta. The knockout stage then takes over the city with a dramatic round of 32 match on July 1. Then, on July 7, Mercedes-Benz Stadium hosts a massive round of 16 showdown where the intensity, pressure, and emotion reach another level. And finally, on July 15, Atlanta hosts one of the biggest matches in world football, a FIFA World Cup semi-final. Mercedes-Benz Stadium will transform into the beating heart of the football world. And our next destination takes us to the football heart of New England. Welcome to Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Located just outside Boston, this iconic stadium opened in 2002 and quickly became one of the most famous sports venues in the entire United States. With a capacity of more than 65,000 fans, Gillette Stadium was built for unforgettable moments. And over the years, this venue has witnessed NFL championship dynasties, Major League Soccer battles, major international football matches, Copa America clashes, and FIFA Women's World Cup games that electrified the entire stadium. Its towering lighthouse, rising high above the stands, has become one of the most recognizable symbols in American sport. The World Cup action in Boston begins on June 13, 2026, as Haiti faces Scotland in a thrilling group stage clash under the bright lights of Boston Stadium. Then, on June 16, Iraq battles Norway, with both nations fighting desperately for crucial early points. Scotland returns once again, this time facing Morocco in what promises to be an electric World Cup atmosphere. Two passionate nations, one massive stage. Then, on June 23, England faces Ghana in one of the most anticipated matches of the entire group stage. June 26, Norway takes on France as two European nations collide in a massive World Cup showdown. On June 29, Boston Stadium hosts a dramatic round of 32 clash where dreams survive and heartbreak begins. One nation moves forward, another goes home. And finally, on July 9, 2026, Gillette Stadium hosts one of the biggest matches of the entire FIFA World Cup. A massive quarter-final showdown. The stakes, the pressure, the atmosphere, all reaching another level. And our next destination takes us to the vibrant football atmosphere of South Florida. Welcome to Miami Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. Opened in 1987, this iconic stadium holds nearly 65,000 fans and has become one of the most famous sporting venues in the United States. But in 2026, Miami transforms into one of football's global capitals. Miami Stadium will host 7 FIFA World Cup matches, including 4 group stage encounters, a round of 32 showdown, a massive quarterfinal, and the World Cup third-place match. The World Cup action in Miami begins on June 15, 2026, as Saudi Arabia faces Uruguay in a huge group stage showdown. Then, on June 21st, Uruguay returns once again, this time facing Cabo Verde under the electric Miami atmosphere. On June 24th, Brazil battles Scotland in one of the most anticipated matches of the group stage. And on June 27th, Portugal faces Colombia in what promises to be an unforgettable World Cup night. On July 3rd, Miami hosts a dramatic round of 32 clash where dreams survive and heartbreak begins. Then, on July 11th, Miami Stadium hosts a massive FIFA World Cup quarterfinal with the entire football world watching. And finally, on July 18, 2026, Miami hosts the FIFA World Cup third-place match, one final battle before the world champion is crowned. And our next destination takes us to MetLife Stadium near New York City. Opened in 2010, this massive venue holds more than 82,000 fans, making it one of the largest stadiums in world football. And in 2026, MetLife Stadium becomes the center of the football universe, because this stadium will host the FIFA World Cup final. The World Cup action begins on June 13, 2026, as Brazil faces Morocco in a massive group stage showdown inside the New York-New Jersey Stadium. On June 16, France battles Senegal as another huge World Cup night arrives near New York City. On June 22, Norway faces Senegal, with qualification hopes hanging in the balance. On June 25, Ecuador takes on Germany in one of the most anticipated clashes of the group stage. And on June 27, Panama battles England under the bright lights of MetLife Stadium. On June 30th, New York-New Jersey Stadium hosts a dramatic round of 32 showdown where one nation survives and another goes home. On July 5th, MetLife Stadium hosts a massive round of 16 clash with the pressure, the intensity, and the atmosphere reaching another level. And finally, on July 19, 2026, the biggest match in world football arrives in New Jersey. The FIFA World Cup final. As billions watch across the globe, MetLife Stadium transforms into the heartbeat of the football world. And our next destination takes us to Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Opened in 2003, this iconic stadium holds nearly 70,000 fans, making it one of the most electric football venues in the United States. And in 2026, Philadelphia becomes one of the great stages of the FIFA World Cup. The World Cup action begins on June 14, 2026, as Côte d'Ivoire faces Ecuador in a massive Group E showdown inside Philadelphia Stadium. On June 19, Brazil battles Haiti as another huge World Cup night arrives in Philadelphia. On June 22nd, France faces Iraq with qualification hopes hanging in the balance. On June 25th, Curaçao takes on Côte d'Ivoire in one of the most fascinating clashes of the group stage. And on June 27th, Croatia battles Ghana under the bright lights of Lincoln Financial Field. On July 4th, Philadelphia Stadium hosts a dramatic round of 16 showdown where one nation survives and another goes home. And our next destination takes us to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Opened in 1972, this legendary stadium holds more than 73,000 fans, making it one of the loudest and most intimidating football venues in the world. And in 2026, Kansas City becomes one of the great stages of the FIFA World Cup. The World Cup action begins on June 16, 2026, as Argentina faces Algeria in a massive group stage showdown inside Kansas City Stadium. On June 20th, Ecuador battles Curaçao as another huge World Cup night arrives in Kansas City. Group stage match. On June 25th, Tunisia faces the Netherlands with qualification hopes hanging in the balance. On June 27th, Algeria battles Austria under the bright lights of Arrowhead Stadium. On July 3rd, Kansas City Stadium hosts a dramatic round of 32 showdown between the winners of Group K and one of the tournament's best third-place teams. On July 11th, quarter-final showdown. Our next destination takes us to NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. Opened in 2002, this massive venue holds more than 72,000 fans, and in 2026, Houston becomes one of the major stages of the FIFA World Cup. The World Cup action begins on June 14, 2026, as Germany faces Curaçao in a fascinating group stage showdown inside Houston Stadium. On June 17, Portugal battles Congo Drive as another massive World Cup night arrives in Texas. On June 20th, the Netherlands faces Sweden in one of the biggest European clashes of the group stage. On June 23rd, Portugal returns once again, this time facing Uzbekistan. And on June 26th, Cabo Verde battles Saudi Arabia. On June 29th, Houston Stadium hosts a dramatic round of 32 showdown. On July 4th, NRG Stadium hosts a massive round of 16 clash, with the pressure, the intensity, and the atmosphere reaching another level. Our next destination, AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Opened in 2009, this massive stadium holds more than 94,000 fans, making it one of the largest venues of the FIFA World Cup 2026. The World Cup action begins on June 14, 2026, as the Netherlands face Japan in a huge group stage showdown inside Dallas Stadium. On June 17, England battles Croatia in one of the most anticipated clashes of the opening week. On June 22, Argentina faces Austria as world-class football arrives in Texas. On June 25, Japan battles Sweden under the bright lights of AT&T Stadium. And on June 27, Jordan faces Argentina with qualification hopes hanging in the balance. On June 30th, Dallas Stadium hosts a dramatic round of 32 showdown where one nation survives and another goes home. On July 3rd, another massive round of 32 clash arrives in Arlington, with the pressure and intensity reaching another level. On July 6th, AT&T Stadium hosts a huge round of 16 battle as the road to the World Cup final gets even tougher. And finally, on July 14, 2026, Dallas hosts one of the biggest matches in world football, the FIFA World Cup semi-final. As millions watch across the globe, AT&T Stadium transforms into the heartbeat of the football world. And our next destination takes us to SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Opened in 2020, this spectacular venue holds around 70,000 fans, making it one of the most modern stadiums in world football. The World Cup action begins on June 12, 2026, as the United States faces Paraguay. On June 15th, Iran battles New Zealand as another massive World Cup night. On June 18th, Bosnia and Herzegovina faces Switzerland in a fascinating European clash. On June 21st, Belgium battles Iran. On June 25th, Turkey faces the United States in front of a roaring Los Angeles crowd. On June 28th, Los Angeles Stadium hosts a dramatic round of 32 showdown between the runners-up of Group A and Group B. On July 2nd, another massive knockout battle arrives in Los Angeles as the winners of Group H face the runners-up of Group J. On July 10, 2026, SoFi Stadium hosts a gigantic FIFA World Cup quarter-final, winner match 93 versus winner match 94. As millions watch across the globe, Los Angeles transforms into the heartbeat of world football during the summer. And our next destination takes us to Levi's Stadium in the San Francisco Bay Area. Opened in 2014, this modern venue holds around 68,000 fans, and in 2026, Silicon Valley becomes one of the great stages of the FIFA World Cup. The World Cup action begins on June 13, 2026, as Qatar faces Switzerland in the opening World Cup clash. On June 16, Austria battles Jordan. On June 19, Turkey faces Paraguay in a crucial group stage showdown. On June 22nd, Jordan returns once again, this time facing Algeria. And on June 25th, Australia battles Paraguay in the final group stage match. On July 1st, San Francisco Bay Area Stadium hosts a dramatic round of 32 showdown where the winner of Group D faces one of the tournament's best third-place teams. The Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. Opened in 2002, this iconic stadium holds nearly 69,000 fans and becomes one of the loudest venues of the FIFA World Cup 2026. The World Cup action begins on June 15th as Belgium faces Egypt. On June 19th, the United States battles Australia. On June 24th, Bosnia and Herzegovina faces Qatar. On June 26th, Egypt battles Iran. On July 1st, Seattle Stadium hosts a dramatic round of 32 clash where one nation survives and another goes home. On July 6th, Lumen Field hosts a gigantic round of 16 showdown with the pressure, the intensity, and the 16 stadiums, 3 nations, 1 World Cup, and in 2026, these iconic venues will become the center of the sporting world. They will witness unforgettable goals, historic upsets, emotional victories, and moments remembered forever. Because the FIFA World Cup is never just about football. It is about history, culture, passion, and dreams shared by billions around the world. From roaring crowds to breathtaking atmospheres, from last-minute winners to tears of heartbreak and joy, every stadium will tell its own story. And these venues are ready for it all. Ready for the noise, the pressure, the glory, and the moments that will live forever in football history. This is more than a tournament, more than a game. This is the FIFA World Cup 2026. And if you enjoyed this journey, make sure to subscribe to Sport Ants for more unforgettable stories from FIFA World Cup 2026, legendary teams, rising nations, football history, and the passion that unites the world through sport. Because this is more than just football, this is the story behind the game.